In the heart of the Aegean Sea, where the horizon kisses the sky in an endless embrace, the grand vessel, Royal Caribbean, charted its course through the sapphire waters. On board, amidst the jubilant echoes of laughter and the clinking of champagne glasses, were George Smith and Jennifer, newlyweds enveloped in the bliss of their marriage. The sea breeze wove through their hair as they stood on the deck, gazing out at the vast expanse. The world around them was a canvas of blue, painted with the gentle strokes of the waves and the vibrant hues of the setting sun. It was a moment of pure magic, a perfect beginning to their honeymoon. Their eyes, bright with dreams and love, reflected the boundless sea. In each other's company, the ocean's vastness seemed like a metaphor for the infinite possibilities that lay ahead in their shared future. George, with his charming smile and a twinkle in his eye, held Jennifer close. She, with her radiant beauty and gentle grace, looked up at him with adoration. They were the very picture of love and happiness, a golden couple on the threshold of a new journey. But little did they know, as the ship sliced through the Aegean waters, that their idyllic journey would soon unravel into a tale shrouded in mystery, a story that would capture the world's attention and etch itself into the annals of true crime. This was not just a cruise. It was the beginning of a saga that would intertwine their fates with the deep, dark secrets of the ocean. The sun rose, casting its first golden rays over the Royal Caribbean, as it navigated the serene waters of the Aegean Sea. The ship, a floating paradise, was awakening, its corridors filling with the sounds of morning. But amidst this routine serenity, an unsettling discovery was about to shatter the calm. Emily Rausch, a 16-year-old passenger from Chicago, had always been an early riser. That morning, as she prepared for another day of adventure, a peculiar sight caught her eye through the cabin window. Her heart skipped a beat at the unsettling view, the smear of crimson on the canopy shielding the lifeboats. It was a stark, alarming contrast to the usual pristine condition of the ship. With a mix of curiosity and dread, Emily leaned closer. The blood, fresh and ominous, seemed to tell a silent, sinister tale. It trailed towards the edge of the canopy, ending abruptly, as if whoever or whatever had left it had vanished into the sea. Unable to shake off the chilling sight, Emily rushed to inform the ship's staff. Her discovery quickly stirred a flurry of activity. Other passengers, drawn by the commotion, shared their observations of similar disturbing marks. Whispers turned into lively discussions, speculation swirling like the sea breeze. The ship, which had been a haven of joy and celebration, was now gripped by a palpable tension. The carefree atmosphere was overshadowed by a cloud of uncertainty and fear. The passengers, once strangers joined by the mere coincidence of shared travel, were now united in their intrigue and apprehension about the grim mystery unfolding before them. News of the bloodstains spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of international media. The story of the happy young couple on their honeymoon cruise was taking a dark turn. The joy and excitement that had marked the beginning of their journey were being eclipsed by a sense of foreboding, a prelude to a tragedy that was yet to fully unfold. As the ship continued its voyage through the Aegean, the sea around it remained oblivious to the human drama it cradled. The blue waters, once a symbol of freedom and promise, now seemed to hold secrets too deep and dark to fathom. In the small, picturesque town of Greenwich, Connecticut, a story had begun many years before that fateful cruise. This story was of George Smith, a bright and cheerful young man whose life was a tapestry of family, ambition, and dreams. George's early years were marked by the warmth of a close-knit family. His parents, pillars of love and support, nurtured his inquisitive mind and kind heart. The family home was a haven of laughter and learning, where George grew into a man of integrity and charm. His father, George Smith Sr., owned a local liquor store, a place more than just a business, but a community hub. George Jr., watching his father, learned the values of hard work, passion, and the importance of serving the community. The store was not just a livelihood, it was a legacy, a testament to the Smith family's bond and dedication. After graduating from Babson College in Massachusetts with a degree in business, George ventured into the world, eager to carve his own path. He moved to Boston, where he worked as a computer data mining analyst. The city life, with its pulse and opportunities, was exciting, but something tugged at his heartstrings, calling him back home. It was the family business, the liquor store under his father's watchful eye, that eventually drew George back to Greenwich. He sought his future in the aisles and shelves of the store, in the familiar faces of customers who had known him since he was a boy. Under his father's guidance, George was preparing to take over the store, to carry on the family name, and to serve the community that had seen him grow. In Greenwich, George's life was a blend of old and new, tradition and ambition. He was a man rooted in his family's history, yet reaching for his own dreams. And it was here, in this town woven with his past and future, that George met Jennifer, the woman who would become his partner in life and in love. Their meeting was more than just a chance encounter. It was the alignment of two lives meant to journey together. In Jennifer, George found not just a partner, but a reflection of his own aspirations, a shared vision of a future filled with love, laughter, and shared dreams. Together, they embarked on a life that promised to be as rich and fulfilling as the ocean is deep. But as the Royal Caribbean cut through the Aegean Sea, that promise was hanging by a thread, the thread of a mystery that was slowly unraveling in the heart of the waters they sailed. In the heart of Connecticut, where the charm of small towns meets the promise of the future, George Smith's life took a turn that would forever change its course. It was in 2002, at a reunion with old friends, that George's path crossed with Jennifer, a fellow Connecticut native whose spirit was as vibrant as her smile. Jennifer, fresh from college and stepping into the world as an elementary school teacher, carried with her an air of ambition and grace. Her eyes sparkled with the kind of light that only those with a passion for life possess. When she met George, it was as if two pieces of the same puzzle had clicked into place. Their connection was instant and undeniable. George, with his easy charm and heartful laughter, found in Jennifer a kindred spirit. She, in turn, was drawn to his warmth and sincerity. Their conversations flowed effortlessly, filled with dreams, laughter, and a growing sense of belonging. The quaint town of Greenwich, with its tree-lined streets and cozy cafes, became the backdrop of their blossoming romance. They shared walks under the starlit sky, cozy dinners in local restaurants, and conversations that lasted until dawn. In each other, they found not just love, but a partner for the journey ahead. George's family welcomed Jennifer with open arms, seeing in her the same qualities they cherished in George. She became a part of their gatherings, her laughter blending seamlessly with theirs, her presence a natural extension of the family. In 2005, 3 years after their serendipitous meeting, George and Jennifer decided to seal their love with vows. They chose the Castle Hill Inn in Newport, Rhode Island, for their wedding, a place as magical as their love story. The ceremony, held against the backdrop of the ocean, was a celebration of their journey together, a testament to the love that had grown and flourished between them. As they stood hand in hand, with the ocean whispering its tales behind them, George and Jennifer looked into each other's eyes and saw a future filled with shared dreams and endless possibilities. It was more than a marriage. It was the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter that they had eagerly awaited. Their honeymoon choice, a cruise on the majestic Royal Caribbean, was a reflection of their adventurous spirits. They envisioned a journey through the Aegean Sea, a voyage through the waters of history and beauty. Little did they know that this journey would take a turn into uncharted waters, steering their story into a realm of mystery and unanswered questions. As the Royal Caribbean sailed through the moonlit Aegean Sea, George and Jennifer Smith, wrapped in the euphoria of their new marriage, were unknowingly approaching a night that would alter the course of their lives forever. The 5th of July was set to be another chapter in their romantic escapade, but destiny had scripted a starkly different tale. The evening began like any other on the cruise. The ship was alive with laughter and music, its decks echoing with the sounds of celebration. George and Jennifer, along with their newfound friends, including the affable Josh Askin, were the epitome of joy and carefree spirit. They had quickly bonded over shared jokes and tales, their camaraderie evident in their constant laughter and easy banter. As the night unfolded, the group, imbued with a sense of adventure, decided to explore the ship's offerings. Their first stop was the casino, a glittering haven of excitement and chance. George and Josh, drawn to the thrill of the craps table, immersed themselves in the game, their faces alight with the rush of risk and anticipation. Jennifer, with equal enthusiasm, tried her luck at the poker table. The hours slipped by, marked by the clatter of dice and the shuffle of cards. The casino, a microcosm of the ship's vibrant life, buzzed with energy and the promise of fortune. For the newlyweds, however, fortune seemed to elude them that night. As the casino drew its curtains close, George and Jennifer emerged, their pockets lighter but their spirits undimmed. They laughed off their losses, attributing them to the whims of chance and the spirit of their honeymoon adventure. The night, however, was far from over. With the casino's closure, the merry group, not yet ready to end their revelry, decided to continue their night elsewhere. The last known footage of George, captured by the ship's security cameras, showed him leaving the casino around 2:30 a.m. It was a fleeting image, a moment frozen in time, unbeknownst to anyone the gravity it would soon hold. In the early hours of June 5th, as the ship sailed past the Greek island of Mykonos, the atmosphere aboard took a dramatic turn. George Smith, the cheerful and bright young man from Connecticut, vanished. The details of his disappearance were shrouded in mystery, the clues scarce and puzzling. The ship, a floating citadel of joy and leisure, suddenly found itself at the center of a baffling enigma. The disappearance of one of its passengers, under such mysterious circumstances, cast a shadow over the vessel and its inhabitants. The sea, once a symbol of freedom and beauty, now held a dark secret in its depths, a secret that entwined the fate of George and Jennifer in a narrative far removed from their dream honeymoon. As the sun rose over the Aegean, casting its light on the waters that had witnessed unspoken events, questions began to surface. What happened to George Smith on that fateful night aboard the Royal Caribbean? The answer lay hidden, somewhere between the moonlit decks and the silent, watchful sea. As dawn broke over the Royal Caribbean, a sense of unease crept aboard the ship. The morning's tranquility was shattered by the revelation that George Smith, the jovial newlywed, had vanished into the mysterious embrace of the Aegean night. The ship, a floating world of its own, was now a labyrinth of questions and fears. Jennifer, found in the ship's spa, was the embodiment of confusion and worry. Her face, once radiant with the joy of a new bride, was now etched with deep concern. The last she remembered, George was with friends, their laughter echoing in the ship's corridors. But as morning dawned, she woke up to a reality where her husband was nowhere to be found. The discovery of blood, stark and foreboding, in their cabin, and on the canopy of the lifeboat below added a sinister layer to George's disappearance. The bloodstains spoke of a violent event, a struggle or an accident, the nature of which remained shrouded in mystery. The crew of the Royal Caribbean, trained for hospitality and leisure, found themselves in the midst of an unprecedented situation. The deck where George was last seen was cordoned off, transformed from a place of social gathering to a potential crime scene. Passengers, once carefree and immersed in the pleasures of the cruise, were now witnesses and potential informants in a case that was rapidly gaining international attention. The atmosphere aboard was tense, a stark contrast to the ship's intended ambience of relaxation and escapism. As Turkish authorities boarded the vessel to commence their investigation, the captain's voice over the intercom was a grim reminder of the gravity of the situation. The need for cooperation with the investigation was emphasized, as the ship itself became a floating piece of evidence in a puzzle that seemed to deepen with every passing hour. The spotlight of suspicion first fell on Jennifer, whose bewildered state and fragmented memories of the night made her the focus of intense scrutiny. Her claims of ignorance regarding George's whereabouts did little to dispel the cloud of doubt that hung over her. As the ship continued its journey, the sea around it whispered secrets of the night past, secrets that held the key to the fate of George Smith. The once joyous voyage had turned into a voyage of uncertainty and fear, with the truth lurking just beneath the surface, elusive and enigmatic. The Royal Caribbean, now more a floating enigma than a cruise ship, was awash with theories and conjectures about George Smith's disappearance. The investigation, led by Turkish authorities with the FBI's involvement, began to peel back the layers of that fateful night, revealing a complex web of interactions and events that only deepened the mystery. The primary suspects in this intricate puzzle were those who had last been seen with George, a group of passengers who had quickly become his friends on the ship. This included Josh Askin, the young man whose camaraderie with George had seemed so effortless and genuine. Their testimonies, however, were riddled with inconsistencies and gaffes, painting a picture that was as murky as the waters surrounding the ship. Each account differed, offering varying narratives of the night's events. Some spoke of excessive alcohol consumption, while others hinted at deeper, more sinister undercurrents. Josh's account, in particular, raised eyebrows. He mentioned a supposed connection between Jennifer and a casino employee, suggesting motives and relationships that added further complexity to the case. Meanwhile, the ship's security footage and key card records added another layer to the puzzle. They showed Jennifer leaving the casino in the early hours, her movements unsteady, her demeanor a stark contrast to the composed woman she had been earlier in the evening. George's movements, captured on camera, were the last visual proof of his presence, a haunting reminder of the normalcy that preceded the chaos. The Turkish investigators, methodical in their approach, scrutinized cabin 962, the couple's private sanctuary turned crime scene. The cabin was in disarray, a silent witness to the night's events. Bloodstains on the carpet, the towels, and on the bedding, each a clue in a story that was yet to be fully told. The balcony, with its chair oddly positioned and marks on the railing, hinted at a possible fall or a forced exit. The high railing, however, raised questions about the likelihood of an accidental fall. Was it a tragic misstep, an act of despair, or something more sinister? As the investigators delved deeper, the ship itself seemed to hold its breath, its decks echoing with the whispers of passengers speculating about the fate of the man who had vanished into the night. The Royal Caribbean, once a vessel of dreams and celebrations, was now a crucible of mysteries, with each revelation adding to the enigmatic tapestry of the case. In this chapter of their journey, George and Jennifer's love story had taken a dark turn, their promised life together disrupted by a night that no one could fully remember or understand. The search for the truth, amidst the waves and whispers, continued, each discovery leading to more questions than answers. As the Royal Caribbean continued its solemn voyage across the Aegean, the investigation into George Smith's disappearance spiraled into a labyrinth of theories and conjectures, each more perplexing than the last. The ship, a world within itself, was now a breeding ground for rumors and suspicion, casting long shadows over the memories of what was supposed to be a celebratory journey. Two dominant theories emerged, each painting a different picture of the events that led to George's vanishing. The first revolved around the possibility of a robbery gone awry. Witnesses recounted tales of the couple flaunting their newfound wealth, possibly from wedding gifts or casino winnings. This theory suggested that George, adorned with an expensive watch, and Jennifer with her engagement ring, became targets for a robbery. The disheveled state of their cabin, and the bloodstains hinted at a violent struggle, perhaps a desperate fight against unseen assailants. The second theory delved into the effects of alcohol and the possible influence of hallucinogens. The night had been one of indulgence, with the ship's bars and casino offering a myriad of temptations. The presence of absinthe, a potent and often misunderstood spirit, added an element of danger to the mix. Could an accidental fall have occurred in a state of inebriation, or did the alcohol and absinthe concoct a lethal cocktail leading to a tragic end? The captain and crew, accustomed to dealing with the routine challenges of life at sea, found themselves navigating uncharted waters. The ship's very integrity seemed to be under scrutiny, its decks and cabins now scenes in a drama that was unfolding in real time. Jennifer's behavior and subsequent actions became a focal point of the investigation. Her calm demeanor and measured responses, though possibly a shield against the unfolding chaos, were perceived by some as suspicious. The Smith family's growing mistrust of her intentions added another layer of complexity to the case. Theories aside, the ship itself bore silent witness to the night's events. Its corridors, once filled with the sounds of celebration, now echoed with hushed conversations and speculative whispers. The blue waters of the Aegean, reflecting the sun's rays, seemed indifferent to the human drama that had unfolded within its embrace. The investigation, while meticulous and thorough, was like a ship navigating through a fog of uncertainties and unknowns. Each piece of evidence, each testimony, seemed to lead to more questions than answers. The truth about what happened to George Smith on that fateful night remained elusive, hidden in the shadows of the Royal Caribbean and the depths of the Aegean Sea. As the Royal Caribbean sailed towards its destination, the mystery of George Smith's disappearance transformed into an intricate quest for truth. The Smith family, grappling with the loss of their beloved son, plunged into a relentless pursuit for answers, their resolve unshaken by the murky waters of uncertainty that surrounded the case. The ship, once a vessel of dreams, had become the epicenter of an international investigation. The FBI, stepping into the complex web of events, began to weave through the myriad of testimonies and evidence, seeking clarity in a case that was shrouded in ambiguity. The focus of the investigation narrowed on a group of young men who had spent the final hours with George. Their accounts, riddled with inconsistencies and half-truths, only deepened the mystery. The testimony of Josh Askin, in particular, raised more questions than it answered. His failure to pass a polygraph test added a layer of suspicion around his involvement or knowledge of the events that led to George's disappearance. Amidst the turmoil of theories and speculation, a chilling piece of evidence emerged, a videotape. The tape, which featured an offhand remark about paragliding without a parachute, seemed to hint at a darker side of the night's events. Was it a mere joke in poor taste, or a veiled confession of a sinister act? The FBI's scrutiny extended to Greg Rosenberg and his companions, whose presence and actions on the night of George's disappearance became pivotal in the investigation. The ambiguity of their testimonies, coupled with the lack of concrete evidence, painted a picture of a night filled with shadows and secrets. The Smith family's determination to uncover the truth led them to forensic expert Henry Lee. His independent investigation offered a glimmer of hope, a chance to piece together the puzzle that had baffled authorities. However, the refusal of the cruise line to cooperate fully with his experiments and inquiries only added to the family's frustrations and suspicions. The narrative of George and Jennifer's love story, which had begun with promises of a lifetime of happiness, was now tangled in a web of unanswered questions and elusive truths. The Royal Caribbean, its decks and cabins silent witnesses to the tragedy, sailed on, its course marked by the echoes of a mystery that seemed to grow deeper with each passing day. In this quest for truth, the Smith family stood undeterred, their resolve fueled by the love for their son and the unshakable belief that justice would eventually prevail. The sea, with its hidden depths and silent tales, held the key to a story that had captured the hearts and minds of people around the world, a story that demanded an answer from the depths of the unfathomable. As the waves of the Aegean Sea continued their timeless dance, the mystery of George Smith's disappearance lingered like a haunting melody, unresolved and echoing with unanswered questions. The Royal Caribbean, its journey marked by the shadow of this tragedy, had long since returned to its routine of voyages. But for those involved, the journey was far from over. The Smith family, carrying the weight of their loss, remained steadfast in their quest for answers. Their son's vanishing had become more than a personal tragedy. It was a story that resonated with the public, a tale of love, loss, and the elusive nature of truth. The family's tireless efforts, fueled by both grief and determination, kept the case in the public eye, refusing to let George's story fade into the depths of forgotten news. Jennifer, once a bride embarking on a new chapter of life, found herself entangled in a narrative of suspicion and scrutiny. Her settlement with the cruise line, a decision made amidst the whirlwind of grief and public pressure, was seen by some as a closure, but for the Smith family, it was a chapter that refused to close. The FBI, having delved deep into the labyrinth of the case, eventually concluded their investigation. The lack of concrete evidence and the shadows that clouded the events of that fateful night led them to close the case, classifying it as an unfortunate accident. This conclusion, however, did little to quell the storm of questions and theories that continued to swirl around the incident. The mystery of what happened to George Smith in the early hours of July 5, 2005, remained, much like the sea itself, deep and unfathomable. Theories ranged from a tragic accident to a nefarious crime, but without definitive evidence, the truth remained just beyond reach. In the years that followed, the story of George Smith became a part of the tapestry of unsolved mysteries that captivate and perplex. Documentaries, books, and articles revisited the case, each attempting to shed light on the enigma that had captured the world's attention. For George's family and loved ones, the absence of closure was a wound that refused to heal. The inability to lay George to rest, to know the truth of his final moments, was an agony that lingered long after the case had left the headlines. The Royal Caribbean, a silent witness to this unsolved mystery, continued its voyages across the seas, its decks echoing with the laughter and joy of passengers oblivious to the tragedy that once unfolded within its walls. But for those who knew and loved George Smith, the ship and the sea would forever hold a different meaning, a reminder of a bright life lost, and a mystery that echoed, unresolved, in the depths of the Aegean.